I remember the day that I got my DD 214. I was so excited. I was overly pumped with joy. But let me tell you the story time on the wicked shit that they had done. So, when you go active duty, you have numerous of ways that you can do your contract. So, one way that you can do it, say if you sign for 3 years, so you always have to do double. So, basically, you can do 3 years active duty and you can do 3 years National Guard, or you can do 3 years active duty and you can do the other 3 years basically being on standby. So, basically, you don't have to report to the base every day like normally, but you can still be on call on paper. So in case they go to war, you will have to come. That's also how they do National Guard and Reserve. So National Guard and Reserve actually have to go frontline first. They go before active duty does. Because they only work 24 days out of the year, Uncle Sam makes them put in that work on the back end. That's why they also have longer contracts. They can't go in there and do 1 or 2 years. Now, I have found out that my adopted mom was collecting my checks, lying to some of the higher ups, telling them that I was remedial and she needed to be in control of my money. She's actually on the run, by the way. Her ass is facing prison time for all the crimes that she has committed. Along with kidnapping me, is literally like at the bottom of the list compared to everything else she's done. But anyway, so basically on my day to go get my DD 214, I came across this woman. So basically, my sergeant, he was a black man. He was walking me to the basically like where you go to pick up your DD 214. So he also was telling me about travel because he was like, you don't need to pay for your own flight home because basically when you travel, you have to pay out of pocket yourself. So this time, because I'm getting released, he was like, go to travel and tell them that basically you're like having orders to be out. Your contract is done. So they're going to pay for your flight wherever you want to go. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went and did that. When I went to get my DD 214, do you not know this lady had already filled out my paper, had already had my signature at the bottom, and had a false address on my DD 214? So that is how the feds had found out that they were collecting checks, sending them to that address that was on that DD 214. I've never stayed at that address. I don't know who address it is. When I went to the address, I recorded the women who were staying there. Basically, it was a woman who like owns multiple homes that she does not have on paper. She has RVs in her yard as well. She basically has a hideout house. So she is hiding people who are on the run, people who are scammers, people who are thieves, and she was collecting my mail and was spending the checks. Yes, all that has been reported before you ask. However, that was a red flag number one because you are supposed to sign your own DD 214 and you are supposed to put your address up there because basically that is the address you are saying that you want to have all of your mail sent to once you get out. Now, another thing that was suspicious because when I went to the lady address, she told me she didn't have no mail with my name on it. Ma'am, they literally, I got the paper and I showed her the paper with her address on it and she couldn't say anything. And it's like, it's literally telling me that you got my mail. But if since you want to go to prison with the adopted mom, with her to prison, you both shall go. Now, that's what you get for being a money hungry, demonic witch. Let's move on because nobody who has ever taken a bribe off of me or stole any money that was supposed to go to me or thought they was going to get a payout off of me in some type of way, they are all receiving karma, and all the evil things that they are done and have done is being exposed, has been exposed, and it's being returned back to them tenfold and to everybody who was involved. Seen, unseen, dead, alive, in the flesh, don't matter. In all timelines and realms, grandkids, future generations, past generations, baby, they're caught. Anyways, red flag number two. She ends up telling me to give her my ID because this was going to be my last day on base. So my sergeant already had told me that you're supposed to get like a week or two left on base so you can turn in all your gear. And my sergeant was like, she hasn't even turned in her gear. That's not how that works. Nobody else has literally been out same day. Why are y'all trying to Like, that doesn't make sense. It seems like you're trying to do something sneaky and you're trying to get her out the picture before she finds out. Like, my sergeant is literally telling this white woman this. Because, again, I told y'all the people who work for them are civilians and they are crooks who use our personal identification for their personal gain. Energy thieves be using our name and information to take themselves on vacation and get discounts, be pocketing the money that's supposed to go to us. That's why the lines be so fucking backed up, because they trying to put on paper that they giving us the money, yet they got some people saying they didn't get the money. Like, all this veteran stuff is being investigated, that the veterans was not receiving the pay because the people who was in charge was literally spending it, using it, stealing it. So she not only had lied on my DD-214, somebody put my signature up there. I had not signed it. You're supposed to sign your own DD-214. All this my sergeant called her out about. Do you think she corrected anything? No, she did not. So I told my sergeant that I was not going to take anything that they had given me to nobody. I left that shit right there in the barracks room, and I said anything that they want, they can get on their own. What I'm taking is what I have. And baby, I was so excited to get off of base. Like, I was literally so excited that night when I was like looking at my DD-214. I was like, girl, I remember 6 years ago when you first signed that contract, you was trying to get out of this any way you could. Now look at you 6 years later at the end of your contract. Tell all that shit and don't leave nothing out. Spare no one.